Ray Brendel. I'm with the Veterans Breakfast Club. We are a 501c nonprofit organization based in the Western Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh area. Our mission is to create communities of listening. We believe every veteran has a story, and the best way to honor a veteran is to listen to his or her story. Um, we believe in the power of storytelling and that we're able to connect, heal, educate, and inspire through veteran stories. And we're going to hear a very interesting story today. With me is Garry Taylor. Say hello, Garry.
Hello, everybody.
And Garry served in Vietnam, and he currently living in the Spokane, Washington area. So now, Garry, tell us before we get into your story of your service in Vietnam, um, tell us where were you born and raised, and how did you get interested in the military?
I was born in Lewiston, Idaho. My parents had a 20-acre orchard, and then he eventually sold the orchard, and we moved to Cottonwood, Idaho, on a ranch. And then he bought a bigger ranch and farm in Nez Perce, Idaho. And I graduated in 1959 from Nez Perce High School. Nez Perce was named after the Nez Perce Indian tribe. Chief Joseph was the leader.
Hmm. Okay, and so you graduated from high school in '59. How did you get involved in the military?
Well, first of all, I went to uh, college in Eugene, Oregon, and here I'm raised on a ranch, and you think you're infallible. And the Marines kept on the advertisement would say, we only take a few good men and all that. Well, here I'm raised on a ranch. I can do anything, and there's nothing I can't do. Um, so, the Marine Corps at that time didn't have ROTC in college, and you had to go back to Quantico, Virginia for 2 different summers. And then when you graduate, you got your commission. Well, I went back there the first summer and then completed that. And during that time, the following year, I decided, do I really want to be a ground officer, or do I want some special training that I could do after I get out of the military? And so I went down to the Army recruiter, and he showed me all the things, schools they have. And I kind of selected either computers or finance and accounting, and he showed me pictures of the computer they have, hundreds of wires running to it. The little computer now would do 10 times more than what that computer would do. And I didn't like all those wires or anything. So I went into finance and accounting in April of 1962.
Now, were you an
And
enlisted man at that point?
yes, then I enlisted.
Okay,
And
I have to interject here, Garry, and say you're the second finance clerk that I've met. I too was a finance clerk. That was in the '70s. So that's finance clerks. We got to stick together. But you didn't end up doing finance work, did you?
no, right. Oh, I did when I came back.
Okay.
But in Vietnam, uh, well, anyway, after um, the schooling in Fort Benjamin Harrison outside of Indianapolis, they gave us a sheet. Where would we like to go overseas? I put Europe. And in the States, where would you like to go if you're stationed in the States? And I put Presidio, California. Well, when the orders came for state of California, called my parents up and told them I'd be stationed in San Francisco. I was really happy about that. Well, they gave me a ticket to San Francisco on the train. So I spent 2 days on the train going to San Francisco, had my own Pullman car and all that. It was pretty neat. And when I got there, there was a military guy um, took me to Oakland. And I was wondering why in the world is he taking me to Oakland? And the orders I had, they were sealed, so I didn't know where I was going really. And so after went to Oakland, got on a ship, troop ship, and for 17 days rode that troop ship to Yokohama, Japan. We did stop at Hawaii though on the way to Yokohama, and when we got off the troop ship, as the waves in the ocean brought the ship up to your feet and then down, we kind of walked like the German troopers, high step to meet the bottom of the ship floor and got off that. And so I was stationed in Yokohama for 6 months. I ran the bicycle and went out, and since I was raised on a farm, I wanted to see what the agriculture was like in Japan.
Okay,
Um,
let me interrupt you a minute, Gary. You mean Okinawa, right? Is that what you're talking about?
no, 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 Yokohama, Japan.
Yokohama, Japan. Okay, I'm sorry. I apologize. So you were sent. You were thinking you were going to San Francisco, and you end up in Japan. And
Yes.
now, are you still a finance clerk at this point?
I don't know what I am. I didn't do nothing but ride around the uh,
You,
outside of Yokohama and visit these farmers and stuff.
so they gave you a
Uh,
bicycle.
yeah, I ran the bicycle and went
Okay.
around. I was there for 6 months, but in the meanwhile, also they had a basketball team, and I tried out for it, and I made it, and I was point guard on the Army basketball team. And I was thinking, oh boy, I get to stay here forever till I get out of the service, just play basketball. Well, they came down with the Army came down with regulation. If someplace they need your MOS, you forget about what you're doing and go to the wherever they send you to on your for that MOS. So I got at that time you had to have a passport. So I got a passport, and I didn't know until I got out of the service that the FBI checked me out at my hometown. Three of the farmers talked to me and said the FBI was there asking questions about you. And after the 6 months, I was on the plane to the Philippines. Got to the Philippines and then on to I didn't know where. Anyway, when got to this this city, got off and I walked in the captain's office and I said, "Where am I?" He says, "Vietnam." I said, "Where in the hell is that?" Um, in high school, you learned about Indochina, and during the time you're in high school and so forth, the countries are always changing different rulers and names and so forth. So I didn't know where Vietnam was.
So this is a remarkable story to me. You're expecting to go to San Francisco. You end up in Japan, and now you're in Vietnam.
Right.
Now, what year was this again, Gary?
I got to Vietnam in 1962,
Okay. And how old are you at this point?
21 or 22.
And just to remind folks, I think most folks will know that the majority, the first combat unit to get to Vietnam was in March of 1965. It was a Marine battalion. I forget the exact number. I think it was a Ninth Expeditionary Brigade or Battalion. So you're there 3 years before the you see my air quotes, the combat units.
Right.
So we know from our history that probably after the French left in the mid 50s, we Americans had advisors there. I guess you were one of the advisors.
That's what they said. I didn't know what I was.
Okay. So what
I was
did you
just there.
do when you got to
Well,
Vietnam? What did you do there?
they put me, I went to S4, that's supplies. I had a Jeep driver, and he's also my interpreter. And we picked up local uh, supplies and materials locally. Um, so everything was, all the engines were run by steam, like the trains. And one time we went to this sawmill to pick up some boards. There they had the track that the log was on. There was 5 Vietnamese at each end pushing it through the bandsaw, which was run by steam. It took forever to get a few boards. They'd all have 10 of them would have to get up on the side with their peavies and turn the log over to saw the next board.
Wow.
And so that bandsaw is run by steam also.
Now,
Um,
tell the folks what unit you were assigned to in Vietnam.
Third RRU, that's Third Radio Research Unit, which
Okay.
I didn't know what it was.
Okay.
They just
So
threw me, they just threw me there, and I had no idea what I was supposed to do or going to do or what they expect me to do.
now, folks cannot see your hat real plainly. Just lean down a little if you would. Yeah, you were in the Army Security Agency at one point, right?
Yes, right.
God, you can lean back. God, you could put your head up. We see it. We see it. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, that red ribbon was at the we were the first unit to receive the meritorious um, unit citation since the Korean War.
Okay. So
And you wore that,
I really like this story. You were thinking about the Marines,
right,
um, officer stuff. You
right,
enlisted in the Army. They trained you as a finance clerk. You thought
right.
you were going to San Francisco, and you ended up in Japan and Vietnam, and now you're in the ASA radio unit, and now you're a supply clerk.
No, well, I don't know what you'd call me. I went and picked up supplies, different, and of course I had the interpreter with me all the time to bargain on things. For example, I think it was 63. The military got a bunch of these uh, cars. I think they're called Valiant, made by Plymouth. You couldn't, when they uh, request um, repair items for these cars, they requisition that, and half the time they couldn't get it. But I could go downtown Saigon and buy them.
So your
Um,
job was to go to the local vendors and buy stuff for the Army?
yes, yes.
Wow. Did that
Or
include
pick
food?
Not food, no,
Not food. Okay.
but about everything else. And
And
um,
how long were you in Vietnam?
18 months.
Okay.
They extended me 6 months, and so I made 18. Only supposed to be there a year, and they extended me 6 months. I didn't argue with back then. You didn't argue with anybody. What they said to you, you did it.
Right.
And
The whole time you were there, the 18 months, were you supplied the whole time?
yes,
S4. Okay. I think this is a good spot, Gary, if you don't mind. Let's show the folks some pictures. Gary has a really nice set of pictures I think you'll like. Can you see that, Gary?
yes,
There you are, a handsome young man on a little motorbike. Is that what you got around the? Where were you in Vietnam, by the way? What part?
at Tossanu Air Base,
The
right?
Hudson Air
Right.
Base. So
Yeah.
that's like, am I correct in remembering? Is that near Da Nang?
No, no, that's right, but it's right near Saigon.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's in Saigon. Okay. Okay. So that's how you got around on that little moped thing there.
Well, when my time off, I did.
Okay. Yeah, but like when you were buying stuff for the army, is that what you used?
No, I was in the I had the Jeep or a 2.5 ton truck, whatever we were to
Oh,
pick up.
okay.
Now that's how you got your haircut.
Yeah.
That's how I got my haircut.
No army barber? You used a Vietnamese barber?
Yeah, yes. Well,
Okay.
when I was there, that was the beginning of. Um, I think there's only 5,000 um, people, Americans there at the time.
Okay. Just some villagers there.
Yes,
I assume that's near Saigon somewhere.
yes, yeah. That's one of the Saigon streets.
Okay.
I forgot all the names of all that stuff. And I was out. Actually, I wasn't supposed to be there because didn't know where the Viet Cong was. But
Okay.
I decided, heck,
Would you just go out for a walk or something?
I probably rode them up. I probably had my interpreter with me. He took the picture.
Okay.
It wasn't a walk. We just screwing around.
And again, this is somewhere near Saigon.
Yes.
Cool, cool picture there.
Yeah.
Wow. That's what life was like in Vietnam in the early 1960s.
Right. That was the hotel next to the Saigon River.
Now there's a story here. Next couple pictures. You want to tell that story, Gary?
Well, it's in this bar, and a person runs in, says there's a plastic bomb on the windowsill. So we all run out, and these two American military soldiers, they said they could disarm it. Well, they tried to disarm it, and you could see what happened.
Oh man.
They just plain disintegrated.
Wow.
Now I did take lots and lots of pictures of very damaged military uh, equipment like jeeps, trucks, armored personnel carrier, and all that. But then I destroyed them all before I left there because I didn't know if I was supposed to have them.
Oh. And you said this is the bar you were in when that explosion happened.
Right. Right. They they put a lot of plastic bombs in different businesses and stuff, so you had to be careful.
Okay. And this is an amazing picture. Go ahead and tell that story.
Well, these are all on the handlebar of a bicycle. He just took them off and put them down there. Um, I don't know what he's going to do with them, but anyway, he just took them off the handlebars.
So this person had a couple dozen chickens on the handle of a bicycle. That's amazing.
Right. There's
Some
plenty of
water
water
buffalo.
buffaloes.
It's a beautiful building.
Yeah, they
Uh,
had some beautiful buildings there.
yeah, and I asked you before, you don't remember where this is, but it's in Saigon somewhere. And whatever it
Yes,
is, it's a great looking building.
I think that might be the legislative building, but I'm not positive. So,
And I love all these motorbikes here. That's how they got around for our
well, they're
most
motor
Vietnamese.
scooters.
Yeah,
They're
most
called lamp.
Vietnamese got around on
They're
a scooter. Yeah.
yeah, they're they call them lamb bedders.
Okay. And that's Nhut, right?
Yes,
Some helicopters.
yeah,
And
that's
there's the
their barracks.
barracks.
Now we were located right in with the Air Force.
Okay. So
Air Force was right next to us.
so this is the area you stayed in, right?
Uh, well, I got a long story about that part.
Okay. There's what you were talking about. This
Steam engine.
yeah, this
Other
construction vehicle is a steam engine.
Yes. The wheels are all concrete.
Okay.
That's Saigon River.
Some more barracks.
Yes. It's going up towards Da Nang.
Now, you took this from a helicopter, obviously.
No,
No?
130 airplane.
Oh, wow. Okay. Buddhist temple there.
Yes.
Village life, again, near Saigon, right?
Yes.
Now, what's going
And
on here in this picture?
we're we're following a cyclone. Um, it was tearing off roofs and stuff like that, and we're still following it.
Wow. You guys would have been in trouble if that thing would have turned.
Um, I guess. Yeah, I wish I'd have kept those pictures because I had a lot of pictures of damaged military equipment.
Yeah, I guess you don't know what's classified and what's not. I mean, I wouldn't know.
Well, yeah, I didn't either. So
Okay, there's the guys looking at the storm.
that's inside a Buddhist temple.
There's your
Right,
right side.
right there. So
That's just a great picture there.
yeah, they go down there and they dig up this mud and put in their canoes and take it out for the rice paddies.
Oh, okay.
You can imagine what kind of stuff's in that water.
Yeah, I don't know. So this is the rainy season.
Yes.
Man. Gary and I talked about this picture before. It always amazes me in a war zone. And here's these kids, just innocent as can be, enjoying life, smiling for the camera. It's a great picture.
Yeah, they always seem to be happy, but then when they get a little bit older, then they become pickpocketers. So they had
Oh,
to be careful when they got older.
oh wow. So again,
And
near Saigon.
well, that's
There he
when the
is.
streets is.
All right. Looking good there, Gary.
I don't know about that.
There's your bike
Yeah.
out on the river. Another Buddhist temple, correct?
Yes. Well, it's inside a Buddhist temple.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Tell them your story. This is a puppy wrestling with a lobster. Tell them what lobster cost in the early 60s in Vietnam.
Okay, I could get two lobster tails for 45 cents. Back when I was there, um, you used greenback uh, money if you wanted to, or you could exchange it into the Vietnamese piastres. And for if you changed it legally at the finance office, it was 70 piastres to $1. But on the street, you could get 140 piastres for $1. And one time I saw a um, or finance officer down there on the street exchanging that. So
Another temple, beautiful. There's your barracks. This is an interesting picture. Tell them about this one.
it's called the Punch Bowl in Hawaii. Um, that's where American soldiers died in the Pacific.
Okay. So not Vietnam, but Hawaii. Beautiful picture,
Yeah, World War II.
right? So obviously you stopped over in Hawaii. Now this is a church in Vietnam again, right?
Saigon.
Okay, a Catholic church.
Yes.
More village life.
Yeah.
The Majestic Hotel, I assume in Saigon again.
Yes.
There's a big snake.
Yeah. They had a zoo there.
Wow. Another temple. Another steam engine, a train this time.
Yeah.
Again, the motorbikes.
Yeah.
That's amazing that, this is in the 1960s. It could have been the 1660s in Vietnam. Life didn't change much for them.
Yeah. Right.
Beautiful pictures, Gary.
Well, the most of the bad ones I threw away.
Tell them about your banana tree here.
Well, the bananas, you would think they would the curved part would point down, but they grow with the curved part up. And they had a kind of a little bit of a lemon taste to them. They were really, really delicious.
Okay, better than regular bananas.
Oh yeah. Well, they ripen on the tree.
Beautiful building here. Somewhere in Saigon, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that was a great set of pictures, Gary. Thanks for sharing those. Thanks for sharing your story of Vietnam. But when you left Vietnam, though, you still had some time to serve in the army, correct?
Yes. I when I got out of the army in 19 well, January the 25th, 1965, I got a teaching job that fall in Lakeview, Oregon. And I joined the National Guard there in Klamath Falls, Oregon. And they were air defense. And during the summer, you go to Seaside, Oregon on the coast and shoot these drone planes flying back and forth up the coastline. And what we used was they were 40 millimeter tanks and had double barrels on them. They were anti-aircraft. They were a clip of 5 shells was pretty heavy, so I kind of the guys that kept loading them in the chamber, they were pretty busy.
So in the National Guard, you were an officer at this point, right?
Yes. Well, if you have to go 2 days a month for training, why not just go to officer school 2 days a month for the year and get your commission?
And
So
what
that's
was
what I
your
did.
job in the National Guard?
Oh, it kept changing. I was fire chief, transportation officer. I don't remember all the things.
Okay.
they
So do you
most of the stuff we did that they had you in charge of, you didn't know much about it. It just depends on the listed men.
okay. So do you remember what you're counting your enlisted time in on active duty and your time as an officer in the National Guard? How many years total did you serve? Do you remember?
Um, well, let's see. I got out in 70, so uh, less than 10 years.
10 years. Okay, that's great. And then you were out, and you said 1970, and you're out for good. What's life been like after after your service time?
Well, I was teaching school, and I got tired of starving. I could make more money in 3 months construction. I could 9 months teaching. Plus, I was principal, and so in 1971, I went into construction. Money was more important than what I liked to do.
Okay, so your career was spent then in construction,
Yes,
and you had a family and everything.
yes. We had 3 boys, and my wife, she passed away um, November the 3rd, 2024. We're married
Sorry to hear
58
that,
years.
Gary.
Yeah.
Sorry to hear
Yeah,
that.
we're married 58 years.
That's
But
fantastic. So you have 3 sons. Are they in the Spokane area?
um, well, they moved, 2 of them moved to Coeur d'Alene. They're retired. They retired in their 50s.
Okay.
And one he's a dean of college, and he retires next year. So all 3
Okay.
will be retired.
Any grandchildren in there?
Yes, 7.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, Gary, I want to
And,
thank you. Go ahead. I'm sorry. You have something else you want to say?
and 2 great grandchildren.
Oh, wow. Wow. Good for you.
I
Good for
don't know
you.
about good for me, but good for them.
What else you got, Gary?
Oh, okay. Um, while I was in Vietnam, um, we were paid in dollars instead of Vietnamese pastries. And eventually they changed it to scripts. But anyway, we could get a lot more for our greenbacks when I was there than you could later because you had to do it legally. Back then, we did a lot of things that nobody knew about. And uh, in 1960, um, at the time, it was President Diem and his brother New was running the country. And in 1960, there was a coup attempted, and the loyalists came down, and the coup failed. Then in 1962, same thing, it failed. And in 1963, they overthrew Diem. I was watching the Navy was for the government, and the Air Force was against the government. And I was watching these World War II airplanes. During a clear day, they would you couldn't see them. All of a sudden, one would dive down and release his bombs onto this Navy ship. And then, of course, the Navy fires back, and you see this black powder exploding around the planes. And it probably happened, I'd say, went on for at least 15, 20 minutes. They never did hit a plane, and I don't know if they ever hit that ship. But the commander of the Navy, they finally convinced him to join the rebels, and so he did. So the shooting stopped.
So, am I understanding you correctly? The Vietnamese Air Force was attacking the Vietnamese Navy? Is that what you're telling me?
Yes, yes,
Wow.
yes.
I had
And I
never
was
heard
watching
that.
it, and I was watching. I took a lot of pictures of it, but gosh, should I have those pictures? So I destroyed them, and I wish I hadn't them because when I was debriefed, I couldn't talk or come back for 10 years about Vietnam or come back for 10 years. And so I was kind of worried about the pictures I had, if I should keep them or not. And I decided, well, I better play it safe and get rid of a lot of the pictures I've taken. And President Diem and his brother, they were like dictator, just like North Vietnam. Uh, in fact, he could have been even worse than uh, the dictator in North Vietnam.
Talk about Ho Chi Minh.
Yes, and they killed. He was more. He was more exclusively with his family, and he let his brother New run the government and secret police. And both of them they killed or executed thousands of political dissidents, including non-communists. I mean, they were horrible. Um, when I first got there, um, the Secretary of Defense, McNamara, came there, said, all you guys will be home within 6 months. We just sat there and laughed at him. Who are you trying to kid? We'd be gone in 6 months because we knew what the landscape was like with all these tunnels and so forth. And they're just, I mean, the people that worked for us, you just knew at night they were uh, becoming Viet Cong for the simple reason he was so corrupt, and he would just soon shoot you as to look at you. And people just couldn't stand eventually, even without American help, because the CIA helped the overthrow in '63.
Were you
And
there in '63? I can't
what's
remember.
that?
I
What's
can't
that?
remember. I already forgot. Were you there in 1963?
Yeah, I was there from '62 to '64.
Okay. So you were there when he was assassinated.
Yes, and the very next morning, um, after the overthrow, we stopped by the palace, and I asked my driver to ask the soldier there um, what was going on. And he said, "Well, we shot the president and his brother." So I thought they shot him in the presidential palace, but a few years later, I read where they're inside of a armored personnel carrier, and they took him out and shot him. So that's one reason I never wanted to work for the federal government, was because you never knew when you was going to get the truth or not, what they're saying. Because I know we gave figures that um, wasn't correct, but it looked good on the reports. And I just, and plus there's a lot of brown nosing and heck with you if I can improve myself. And I just didn't want anything to do with the federal government after that. When I got back, I could have started out as a GS9 in finance and accounting, which I did in Vint Tail Farms outside of Warrenton, Virginia. One weekend, I walked down the street in Warrenton, Virginia. All I saw was white people. I thought, well, this is strange. Walked further, next street. Then on the other side of the street was all blacks. And it kind of turned my stomach upside down on the segregation because being from Idaho, I didn't know anything about segregation. You know, you read about it and so forth, but actually seeing it, it just kind of turns you off because you could tell there's two different styles of people, ones that were privileged and the ones that weren't. And in the military, you considered everybody as just another, uh, uh, you know, person. Never thought about race or anything. So anyway, you ever heard of spooks and spies?
I've heard that term. Tell me what you mean
It's
by
a
it.
it's our organization. We have a reunion every year, and this June, it always happens in June. This June we have it in uh, Schulenburg, Illinois. I don't know if you know where that is.
I do not know.
Well, I don't either.
I
So
know where
anyway,
Illinois is, but that's about it.
yeah, because every year they try to have it different areas so more people can attend the convention. But
Well, you said something interesting. I want to. It caught my ear. You said it a while ago. You were aware when you were there, and again, this is before we sent the major combat units to Vietnam in '65. You were there before that, and you were aware that there were tunnels.
yes,
I just find that very interesting. So,
yeah, yeah. Um, at the time, I didn't know they had a 70 mile tunnel.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And had hospitals. I knew they had hospitals down in some of the tunnels. And people worked on digging these tunnels for years and years, and just no way of. I don't think we'd ever won that
Yeah.
war, even if we bombed North Vietnamese. It's just like Ho Chi Minh said: "You kill 10 of us, and we kill one of you, we'll end up winning the war." I mean, they had
Yeah.
that many people to sacrifice.
Wow. Yeah.
And so I guess kind of complete it. On the first, second, and third people killed in the ASA, um, I knew. I didn't work with them, but I knew them because I played baseball with them. We had a baseball team in Saigon. It was on a soccer field. And in 1964, in February, two fragmentary bombs went off. And um, spec, spec for, what was his name? Anyway, the other soldier, he was a Private Taylor, same name as mine, and they were killed in this World War II fragmentary bombs while they was in the stands watching the baseball game. And that was the last time we had any sports in Vietnam.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Uh,
We just when I say we, I mean the Veterans Breakfast Club. Last Monday, we had a program on the ASA. I don't know if you had a chance to see it, but
yeah, I watched it. I watched
yeah, it
it.
was pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, but most of those people came in 66 and later.
Okay.
Um, like I say, when I was there, there's only about 5,000. Um,
Right. Right.
so, plus, you had to wear civilian clothes.
You mean when you went out amongst the Vietnamese people, you had to be in civies? Is that what you're saying?
Well, no, I was in uniform to pick things up, but otherwise, you're in civics and you had
Okay.
to carry your passport with you.
Okay. And you,
Um,
your job, you were out amongst the folks quite often, right?
yes. And then most of them that migrated from North Vietnam, um, they were Christians, so they migrated to the south. But then President New or President Diem and his brother New, they were horrible. They were just horrible dictators.
Yeah.
Hey, that's my opinion, and I
Okay,
think
that's fine. Well, you were there during a pretty tumultuous time, like you said in 63, it was 63 he was assassinated, him and his brother, right? And you were there. That had to
yes,
be a crazy
yes,
time.
yeah. But then people say, "Well, you were there early before the war already started." Well, that's true, but percentage-wise, as many people there getting killed was just same percentage
Yeah.
because of all these bombs. They would, for example, I couldn't. They said, okay, no more than 3 soldiers together at one time, um, because they throw the grenades or the plastic bombs at you, and but they had a party there. The officers had a party, several officers there, and a guy on the motorcycle came by with a grenade and threw it in and injured a bunch of officers. And they all got Purple Hearts.
Wow.
Okay,
Yeah.
I guess there's more than one way of getting a Purple Heart.
Yeah. You have a fascinating story, and I'm so glad you're sharing it with us. Like I said, I've met, I've had the privilege of meeting a lot of veterans, including veterans that served in Vietnam. And like I told you before, I had the great privilege 2 years ago of going to Vietnam. Of course, then I was a tourist, and I got to see some of the tunnels you were talking about and some other things. But you're the first person that I've met that was there prior to 1965, and again, 65 being the year we sent the majority of the combat troops. So you have a fascinating story. It's really cool.
Well, I'll tell you one other story. Um, this unit, patrol unit, the Vietnamese, they were going out to patrol, and they carry these. They always carry a couple of chickens with them, and they went out on this patrol and got ambushed. So they threw everything away and came back. They still had their chickens. They didn't have their rifles or anything. They still had the chickens.
That's
You
funny.
know, these people, they're actually pretty smart. It's just that they haven't been educated in how to do certain shootings and arms and so forth, equipment. And so they're kind of left out in the dark, and their religion has a lot to do with it, Buddhist or Christian.
Right,
Uh,
right.
it's a learning experience.
Yeah, it's again very interesting story. Um, is there anything
Well,
else? Any other stories you want to share with us?
um, not really. Like I have a bunch of them that has myths and truths. The myth that everybody thought that the newsman would broadcast, that wasn't true. I have a bunch of them. Um, they would, I don't know where they'd come up with all these ideas, and most of these myths were a long ways from the truth. But when they broadcast it on TV or radio, people kind of believe what the newsmen say.
Can you give
And
us one
I've always
example?
the common belief was that most Vietnam veterans were drafted. The fact is, 2/3 of the men who served in Vietnam were volunteers. 2/3 of the men served in World War II were drafted.
Okay,
Uh,
I've not heard that. That's an interesting statistic.
uh, the media reported that suicides among Vietnam veterans raised from 50,000 to 100,000, 6 to 11 times more than the non-Vietnam veteran. The fact is that mortality studies show that 9,000 is a better estimate instead of 50,000.
Okay,
Now, the common belief is that this support, this support, this support, it's I had a stroke back in 2006, so sometimes it's hard to,
that's all
and
right.
plus I'm 86, so sometimes these words don't come out the way I
That's all
want them
right. We
to.
understand what you mean.
And that this important number of blacks were killed in the Vietnam War. The fact is, 86% of the men died in Vietnam were Caucasians. 12.5% were blacks. The common belief is that the fighting in Vietnam was not as intense as in World War II. The fact is that the average infantryman in the South Pacific War of World War II saw 40 days of combat in 40 years. In 4 years, the average infantryman in Vietnam saw about 240 days of combat in 1 year. You know that girl that you saw on TV? Um, she was naked and running from this. She was in this napalm bomb,
Right, I remember
and
that picture.
yeah. Well, guess what? It was no American was involved in it. It was a Vietnamese fighter planes that run by Vietnamese that dropped a napalm bomb on her in the village.
Right.
No Americans were involved in it.
Okay.
But watching TV, it was the Americans that did it. Or if they didn't say so, they gave you that impression.
Right.
I thought that was pretty interesting.
Well, you know what, hey Gary, I'm going to make a suggestion to you. If you look at our website, again, the Veterans Breakfast Club, we have an open conversation every couple weeks. And if you would like, you can tune into the program and you can bring some of these issues up. I know I'm quite positive there'll be many veterans, especially Vietnam vets, who'll be willing to, go over some of these things with you. Very interesting points you're
Yeah,
making here.
yeah. Well, I do have one thing I'll ask you
Okay.
because it always bugged me since I was there. When a company or a platoon um, takes a hill and they lose half their platoon or their company attacking this hill or mountain, we leave and let the Viet Cong or North Vietnamese come in and take it. Why even attack the mountain or hill and lose, all these soldiers? When we win, then we leave it and let the Viet Cong come back in. I'll never understand that.
Yeah, no, I've heard that. In fact, I've heard, they would take the same hill two, sometimes three times just to abandon it. I don't know the answer to that. That's obviously doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah,
Uh, but again, I will just invite you to
I
come to
will.
one of our open conversations,
Yeah,
and I bet you can get a pretty good discussion going.
yeah. That's always bothered me. Why would you take something and abandon it?
Right, I agree with you. At the cost of, lives, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, I'm all done.
Okay. I want to thank you, Gary, number one, for your service to our country, and number two, for doing this interview. It was great. It was absolutely
Well,
great.
the only reason I wanted to come on, actually, is because everything I see or read, it's about these soldiers going over there in 66, 67, 68, and I was there in 62. And I just wanted to let you know. And I had no idea what I was going to do, what I was, where I was going till I got to Vietnam.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, no, your stories made, like you said, you were expecting to go to San Francisco and you end up in Vietnam. How did that happen? I don't know.
I
Only in
know.
the Army.
Yeah, yeah. Well, actually the ASA is a little bit different than the Army because we have our own budget separate from the Army.
Yeah.
So there's few things that's a little bit different with the ASA than with the Army.
Yeah, I never understood that. They were trying to explain that the other night on the program. And I know it's the Army, but it's separate, and who knows? I don't know. I don't understand it. So,
Well, see, we used to. I went there. We didn't have any. What do they call that? Where you kept track of your supplies and stuff like that.
uh-huh.
You didn't worry about
Inventory?
any of that.
Talking about an
Well, yeah,
inventory?
yeah, right. It's called some type of a book. I forgot. Um, anyway, uh, we. I was telling this one Green Bray guy. He just came from the Cambodia border, and he couldn't fire. If he was fired on, they couldn't fire back till they called Saigon, got permission to fire back. And then he was showing me this pill that they were ambushed. They took this pill and he ran all day long and part of the night without stopping. I don't know what kind of pill it was.
Wow.
That's
Jeez.
some type of. Um, it was just a lot of things that were weird that because we weren't supposed to be there as uh, according to the convention, we weren't supposed to be there as combat, so we had to improvise.
Right, right.
Okay, I don't want to take up any more of your time. It's probably getting close to midnight, so
Okay. Well, again, I want to thank you.
okay. Well, thank you.
Okay, I'm going to sign off, Gary. Okay.
Okay,
All
okay.
right.
Thanks a
Take
lot.
care and thanks again.
You're welcome.
Bye now.
Bye bye.